I saw this on Twitter. They've added this home field advantage or M factor for Madden 22, which basically means that it gives an extra random ability to the home team, which is a cool concept, but some of them are really random and make no sense. Like the Titans holding one. If you're the Titans and you're playing at home, your team cannot get a holding call.
What? So stupid. Oh my God.
Theo, you took the words right out of my mouth. That makes no sense.
Makes me want to die. It makes me want to die. And this is going to be the best thing that happens to my anti-momentum take in history because people are going to realize how stupid this is.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I am joined by Vacation Matthew and Theo Ash. How are you guys today?
Fantastic.
What town are you in? What part of Florida are you guys in right now?
Major city, Fort Myers, but smaller city within is called Estero. It is a vibe, to say the least. And yeah. I do want to point out, I tried a new flavor of pizza yesterday.
Okay.
Barbecue chicken.
It's good.
When I say it was good, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah,
better than cheese, probably not.
Yeah,
but it was really.
What do you mean not better than cheese? Oh, get out of here! I know it was better than cheese. I know it was.
It's definitely top 3, maybe top 2. It was really damn good. I wanted to get this one pizza. It was bacon, 2 cheese, barbecue chicken. It was the works. But we went to a different pizza place, so I didn't get that.
You know what I did last night?
What did you do?
I watched the Phoenix Suns advance to the NBA Finals, and I get on Twitter, and here's what I see. I hate Suns fans. Suns fans are getting so annoying. This is a fake ring for the Suns, and I want to say from the bottom of my heart. You guys haven't even
won the finals yet.
I know, but people are still saying it, and I want to say from the bottom of my heart, I do not care. I do not care. I like the Mickey Mouse jokes. I laugh. I think it's funny to say LeBald and he was at a Chuck E. Cheese and he stole my ring. I think those little rants are funny. But, when you say it about the Suns, you just got to know that this finals run is fortunate, but it's not fraudulent.
Don't worry, Theo. We'll get into all that good jazz. But just a reminder that we are on YouTube, Spotify, Apple. So whatever you can do, whether it be subscribe, rate, review, we'd really appreciate it if you guys would do those things. And also, make sure you give Stay Hot Pod a follow on TikTok. We're going to be posting some great content there, as we already have been. Theo got into a little bit of beef with what's his? I can't even remember his name now.
Hoopology?
But you got into beef with Hoopology, the Knicks fan.
That's because he literally was proving my points right. He was like, "Oh, the NBA is better when the Knicks are good because when we lose, it makes the other teams so much better," or something like that. That's my poll. That's the whole point.
I think that people really like Knicks fans now. Not saying that I think Knicks fans are particularly bad people or anything, but I think once they become a contending level team, people are going to view them like they view Lakers fans.
That's every fan base. That's every fan base. I made that video and all the comments are Suns fans are so annoying now. Oh, I hate Suns fans. They win one playoff.
It's every fan base.
They won in the playoffs one time and they think they're the shit. Every fan base is like that. Every single fan base gets annoying when their team is winning. There is not one fan base who would take it with grace, take it with class. Every single fan base in football, basketball, MLB, NBA, soccer gets annoying when their team starts to win. Every single one. It's universal. It's the mentality of a fanatic.
Just wait until Browns fans. Just wait until Browns fans get a Super Bowl ring. It's going to be
everyone
over.
Loved Browns fans when the Browns sucked, and now people hate on Browns fans a lot of the time.
I've had people call me a bandwagon. It's ridiculous. But we do have one more piece of business that we have to get into before we actually get into things, and that is that we are releasing a 3rd weekly mini episode called Stay Hot Shots. We already released one earlier this week. We're just going to give a quick but in-depth review about anything and anyone. So I just did a Deshaun Kaiser review thanks to Landon Hunn's consistent asking, to say the least.
Very
if you have any other ideas for very consistent. If you have any other ideas for what you'd like us to review, just leave us a message in the YouTube comments, or you can email us at stayhotpod@gmail.com. So now we can actually hop into NBA playoffs, NBA conference finals. Theo, okay, I want to know how you're actually feeling, because I know you just want to ramble about how, people are giving you shit because you're a Suns fan now, but like...
I'm feeling great. I wish I was in Phoenix, and I got to get back. For something because, I'm seeing videos from the airport when everyone came back. My friends are there, touching the players and like giving them high fives, which I'm surprised they let them do after Chris Paul got COVID, but apparently there was like a little parade thing.
That's a good point.
Yeah, no, I'm surprised they let them. I'm surprised they let them have the amount of contact with the fans they did after the game, but they did, and it looked cool if no one gets sick. But the pictures of Booker with the trophy, like it's just unreal to me. Like especially the things like with Booker, since he was called like an empty stat guy for such a long time, and now he gets into the finals and just goes all the way to the finals in the first opportunity is just unreal. And I'm sick of the disrespect of this finals run, because I saw everyone before this Clippers game being like, Clippers in 7, here they come, Clippers in 7, and then the Suns win, and it's, oh, of course they did. And it's like, okay, I mean, they still beat a team with LeBron, who was, LeBron's the MVP. He did LeBron, playoff LeBron, and then they beat LeBron, and then everyone's like, oh, of course they did. They dismantled the Nuggets, which they would have done even with or without Jamal Murray, because they just blew the doors off of them. And this is a team, the Suns, that were the number 2 seed. They won 70% of their games in the regular season against playoff teams. Like, this has been a good team since the bubble last year when they went 8-0. Like, all they've done is knock down the pins in front of them for the last calendar year, and people are still like, this team isn't that good.
Yeah, I mean, they played who was in front of them. You can't do anything other than that. Pretty weak competition to make it to the finals.
In the finals, but in the regulars...
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
Yes, they did. Yes, it was.
I can't deny it. But they've also had Chris Paul miss a bunch of games, so it's not like the Suns also haven't had injuries. And the way I look at it is, if the Lakers had beaten the Suns in round 1, we'd probably be sitting here saying, well, the only reason why LA got out of the first round is because the Suns were hurt. Oh, they played a bunch of injured teams. Everybody's been playing injured teams. It's a weird year. One thing that I think has been funny since the conference finals have started, or at least with the 4 teams that made the conference finals, is it kind of feels like all of them have treated getting past the second round as like their Super Bowl. And I don't mean to say that in a mean way, because I mean, it's awesome for all those teams. They're all beating expectations. It's super dope. But you'll see, like, you know what I mean, right? You know what I'm talking about.
Well, we've seen LeBron for such a long time that it's like some teams have been like, when you see the Warriors and LeBron, they don't give a shit about passing the second round. Like, they just don't. And they shouldn't, because their expectations are higher. When your I don't think, and I look at Booker and Chris Paul, and I feel like you watch them at the parade in comparison to everyone else, they just were like sitting on a car, like kind of nodding at people. Like, I'm glad that those two seem to be kind of a little bit more locked in on this isn't the end goal than everyone else on the Suns.
That's what I'm saying. I am just a little worried that maybe somebody, not necessarily the Suns, is not going to be locked in because they're busy celebrating just getting there.
Right.
But I'm a Hornets fan, so I know for a fact if we make the conference finals sometime in the future, I'm going to act the exact same way.
No, yeah, there's no other way to...
But at the same time...
Yeah.
Like, you're going to be there. It's the Suns in the finals. Like, this is not the getting here is a big thing, and
it's a big
I'd be
deal,
more concerned.
But like, even if they want to celebrate, like, it's not like they're playing like the 2017 Warriors. They're going to end up playing either a beat up Bucks team or the Hawks,
or a beat up Hawks.
By the way, maybe a beat up Hawks team. Yeah, I mean, the Hawks are in a good spot right now. I'm feeling really good because I've been picking the Hawks the whole way, and
if you
to be right,
if you get the Hawks pick right because Giannis got hurt, I'm not giving that one to you. I'll give you the 76ers.
Okay, it's not like I didn't like pick Giannis to get hurt. Obviously,
I'm not saying
you were telling me last night, like, even if the Hawks make the finals, that I have to like stop while I'm ahead.
Well, because you've been picking the Suns to win the finals for a while too. So now I would stop and pick.
I
the
have to make a
Suns.
decision. Yeah, I would probably pick the
what
Suns
I'm
either
saying.
way.
I don't really care. I don't care who wins at this point. I
don't really either. I just like
but-
Wisconsin. I just like Wisconsin sports, and a lot of my online Packers friends are also Bucks fans. So, and I like Giannis more than Trae Young. Giannis is one of my favorite non-Suns in the league.
Really?
I love that guy. He seems so likable. So I'd love to see him win a championship. If anyone is going to win at the expense of my Suns, I'd like to see it be Giannis and the Bucks.
I agree. See, I like Giannis. I like Trae Young. I think it'd be hilarious if he
like
ended
Trae
up
Young
winning
too.
Finals,
Yes,
the finals
it would.
this year.
That'd be awesome.
And then Chris Paul winning the finals would be super cool too. So
Yeah.
I'm cool regardless.
Yeah. Anyway, but what I was saying is this is not I don't think it's a Mickey Mouse run for the Suns just because they got the 2 seed. They won all these games against good teams. I mean, they swept the 76ers. They swept the Bucks. They swept the Jazz. They had winning records against about every playoff team in the league during the regular season. And I mean, they're better than the Mavericks, and the Mavericks took a healthy Clippers team to 7, The team with just Chris Paul was better than the Jazz, or not just Chris Paul. Paul George was better than the Jazz. It was a good team even without Kawhi, and we were still better than them. So it's people are acting like it's this sure thing, what would have happened. But I guess we'll never know.
Because you see with the Bucks, Trae Young out, easy win, but they couldn't finish it off. There's times where the other team can be injured and you still lose. You still got to win those games, even when you get the injury breaks.
Right.
But the Bucks weren't even going to win that game with Giannis. Trae Young was out, and I was even one to say that I didn't think the Hawks were going to be even competent without Trae Young, and they were just awesome. Kevin Huerter was a monster. With Cam Reddish, they were the entire team was playing out of their mind.
Yeah, and that happens sometimes
team.
with injuries as you get a little bit of a different perspective. Kawhi being hurt let Paul George kind of run that offense as the primary guy, and I think he benefited a lot from that. And I think that kind of revealed, kind of a Paul George strength, honestly, and made Paul George more dangerous, really, in the absence of Kawhi. It's sometimes an injury. Now, I'm not saying the Clippers are better without Kawhi, but I'm saying that they can grow in other ways that, doesn't equal. It's not just Kawhi's gone, his value is completely gone. His value is spread out to other places. And sometimes when that value gets spread out, it's not just it's not just this massive drop off all the time. And I feel like
Kawhi has taken 25 shots a night or whatever. Probably not that many, but just because he's out doesn't mean you lose 25 shots.
Right. That value went to Reggie Jackson.
Shots.
That value went to Reggie Jackson, and those shots went to Paul George, and they were hitting all those shots. Those shots did not just disappear. Those shots went to Reggie Jackson and Paul George, and they knocked them down. So I don't think that this team with Kawhi would have been just an absolutely unstoppable force, because a lot of the shots that they would have been to a guy just as efficient as what Reggie Jackson and Paul George were doing, honestly. So obviously they would have been better on defense, but really on offense, I don't know if the output would have been super, super different. But defensively,
I think it would have, because you've got then the Suns defense has to take care of Kawhi. I think the shots thing, it makes sense, but it's probably an oversimplified way of looking at it. But let me ask you this. Do you think the Suns make the finals if all the teams and them are healthy throughout this entire playoff run?
I don't know. I would say it would surprise me. I mean, I picked them to lose to the Lakers in the first round. So I don't know if they would have, but I do think that happens in a lot of finals runs. And I feel especially this year, I think that they deserve some credit for being healthy when no other team is, because I do think that athletic training staffs approached these things in different ways, and I think some ways worked and obviously some ways didn't. I feel any athlete, I feel Kawhi was frustrated with their athletic training staff. I feel earlier in the playoffs, the Jazz were a little bit frustrated with their athletic training staff. The Lakers, played AD maybe before he was ready. I don't know. I feel the training staff deserves some credit, and the Suns themselves deserve some credit for being well conditioned at this point. Because it's a battle. This year has been a grind. Teams have been falling down, and teams have been, they've been going down and the Suns have been standing up. And, you can either take away from the Suns for that, or you can give them some credit for being the last team standing healthy. And I choose to give them some credit. I mean, I get that it's lucky.
I think that's a really good way of looking at it.
Yeah, instead of taking away from the Suns, you should,
They've had the best endurance.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens. We'll see who, joins the Suns in the finals, the Hawks. And now I guess we'll just hop right into the NFL. Matt, you were talking about the that EA implemented a new feature in Madden with like home field advantage.
Yeah, so I saw this on Twitter. They've added this home field advantage or M factor for Madden 22, which basically means that it like gives an extra random ability to the home team, which is a cool concept. But some of them are really random and make no sense. Like the Titans holding one. If you're the Titans and you're playing at home, your team cannot get a holding call.
What?
So stupid. Oh my God.
Theo, you took the words right out of my mouth. That makes no sense.
Makes me want to die. It makes me want to die. And this is going to be the best thing that happens to my anti-momentum take in history, because people are going to realize how stupid this is.
I saw a tweet about the Titans thing too. They had just as many holdings on offense as they did, not on offense. They had just as many holdings at home as they did away. It made no difference for them. It's just something totally random.
The Saints,
they're supposed to be based on real life, and they're not.
No, they're not.
Totally
like
arbitrary.
The Lions, they're like, first of all, the Lions, like everyone gets like +1 acceleration. What? Like you just made that up. like that doesn't happen in real life. When the Lions play at home, their acceleration is better.
They Saints accelerate faster.
The Saints thing is like wide receivers like forget their route. Like when a play call comes in, like they just like forget. Like, oh, I didn't know I was supposed to run an out route when I'm in the huddle and I hear, run an out route.
Oh, dude, that's. Here's what's going to happen with this. As somebody who plays like a decent amount of Madden, first off, momentums might be overpowered. When they add new features, they tend to make them too powerful on accident or like matter too much. And I'm willing to bet that one of these home field advantages is going to be way, way too good.
Of course
it's going to
it
mess
is.
up the game.
Of course it is.
Like this Saints one where your player will just run the wrong route randomly on 3rd or 4th down.
And that doesn't happen.
That's gonna cause some serious Madden rage videos, I guarantee.
And it's so stupid. So stupid. It's so stupid because it's not what happens. It's like receivers run the wrong routes sometimes. There's miscommunication, but it happens like very rarely. And it's not. I'm willing to bet it's not even a crowd noise thing. It's just like I thought this concept was something like it's not like, oh, it was too loud, I couldn't hear what. And like the idea of momentum at all in a video game, which is just it doesn't exist in real life. It doesn't. I'm sorry. And all the athletes are yelling at me and they're like, you've never played, so you don't know.
As an athlete, Theo, I agree.
First of all, I have played team sports before. Second of all, it's like an athlete will never tell you that they quit when they get scored on, or they start to like give up when they get scored on. And an athlete will tell you that, and most athletes will probably also tell you that they get more aggressive and they get, when they get down, their mentality also goes up. Athletes will always say that. So it's like, how many times do I need to watch a team have momentum and then just like immediately give it up before? It's so dumb. It's ridiculous to me.
I kind of think it works in the reverse, because
it does.
I agree with the idea that a player's mentality affects or what's going on with them mentally.
100%
affects how they play,
100%.
and how the game is going affects them mentally. But I just don't think it's in the way that people think all the time.
Teams,
like sometimes
teams take their foot off the gas. That is the biggest thing that happens when you go up. You get more complacent and you are more okay with just like going through it. That's why comebacks happen in the first place.
I think it totally depends on what the situation is, what the game is like. Like for a pretty even match, if you all of a sudden get scored on 2 or 3 times in a row in basketball, the team that just got scored on is probably going to come out more aggressive in the next couple of possessions. But let's say Ohio State is playing like Akron, and all of a sudden Ohio State scores like 2 touchdowns in the first like 4 minutes. Akron is probably giving up after that a little bit. So I think it doesn't quite work maybe the way that we all expect.
It's not in a vacuum. Like,
yeah,
the idea of
there's a
momentum
lot of
doesn't exist
factors
in a
that go
vacuum.
into it and make it really hard to track in the middle of a game.
And then it's like even Ohio State versus Akron, maybe they don't give up, but it's like that's just a talent gap that existed before the game too. Like, I don't know. And in the NFL, everyone's a little bit more even, and like you just very rarely see like upsets happen and then because of momentum. And it's like I remember that Panthers versus Vikings game where Jeremy Chin returned 2 fumbles for a touchdown in a row. And like it's hard to get more momentum than that. And then they lost that game. It's like so many times. I literally think it's just excitement. It's just excitement. And like to have
the Patriots Falcons in the Super Bowl, the Falcons were up 28-3.
Well, see, I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily agree with excitement because like excitement, being excited is your mood changing. And if your mood is, how you're feeling mentally, and that does affect how you play. I just know that I don't think that it always works the same way with every game. I brought up the Akron example because, I've played a team sport before where my team has gone up against a team that I know is far, far better than us. And once you go down those first 2 or 3 possessions, it's like, yeah, okay. Like if they come out and they're just immediately dogging you, you're like, yeah, we're probably not going to get this one, and you maybe don't play as hard.
And a lot of times if you go into a game with this idea that, oh, this team is like miles better than us, you're already like psyching yourself out.
That's true. But that's something you don't need a meter to adding that to Madden as some like meter that gives you like random bonuses that don't actually exist is dumb. Exactly. Because when you're playing a person one-on-one in Madden, that happens those mentality changes happen anyway, even though it's a video game. If you go down 14-0 in Madden, shouldn't that just be momentum that exists between you and the other player like naturally?
Yeah, it's like It's like sitting up. That's what it is. You know how like when you're playing
when you
game
like,
and like you go down a couple of possessions and you sit up and you try like a little bit. That's probably, not exactly like that, but that's kind of what happens in real life too.
That is what happens in real life. And when you do kind of sit up and start really paying attention, whenever that happens in real life, the other team has all the momentum. But who really has the momentum in those situations when a team starts to lock in a little bit after being down? The team that just started to lock in. And that's why comebacks happen so frequently. But when I say momentum is excitement, like it's like an announcer will never say the losing team has momentum. They will never say the losing team will have the better mentality, even though I think a lot of the times they do. And like after a score and a team goes up 14-0, no one will ever say the other team has momentum, and you can't know what their mindset is. And a lot of the times it's better. That's why I think the concept of momentum and how it's talked about and how it's referenced and adding momentum to a team that just scored and now they can't get a holding penalty anymore is just the dumbest thing that I've ever heard of in my life. And it's just
that is ridiculous. And that is way too
it doesn't
far.
make you faster. It doesn't make you stronger. It doesn't make you forget your routes. It doesn't make you lose your footing. It just is a mentality thing that exists whether you're up or down.
It's totally arbitrary, and the factors that go into it are also arbitrary.
And it's going to be the worst Madden ever because of this. And I'm going to turn it off whenever if I get it.
It's going to be bad. I do not have high hopes for it. I don't know if you guys watched Brady on The Shop where he just bashed another team's quarterback and their team. So obviously there was, a couple of teams last offseason that were, in the market for Brady other than the Buccaneers. I think it was the Raiders, the 49ers, the Bears, and the Titans. And he said, like, oh, you're really going with that guy? And he just, like, totally bashed, except that, he obviously used different terminology than that. But, no, he just, like, totally bashed their quarterback and bashed their team. Who do you guys think that quarterback was?
Well, I don't know. It's tough to know. I feel like it could have been multiple. It was probably maybe even more than one team. He probably felt that way about every single team that didn't want him. If it was the Bears, that would make sense because they probably had the worst quarterback of all the teams that are speculated to have been interested in Brady. So I guess maybe that would be my guess, but I don't know. That was probably kind of a general thing because I doubt there are many quarterbacks that Brady doesn't feel that way about.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I really think it was the 49ers and Garoppolo, though. Because obviously Brady has played with Garoppolo. Like, he knows about Garoppolo. I don't know. I just feel like if anyone, that Brady would feel like, wow, Shanahan, you're really going to go with Garoppolo instead of me? You of all people? Like, I don't know. I just feel like if Brady was going to bash any quarterback, that would make the most sense.
Plus, he was a big 49ers fan, and I guess it would maybe hurt a little bit different if they didn't want him, but I don't know.
I forgot about that. No, you're right.
I think the 49ers does make the most sense, but even then, it's not like they could have gotten rid of Jimmy Garoppolo last year. Going out and signing Tom Brady to a whole big bunch of money wouldn't make any sense for the 49ers, even though obviously Brady's a way better quarterback. And I'd much like, if I'm the 49ers, I'm trying to upgrade at quarterback too from Garoppolo last offseason. But his cap hit, if they had like cut him or tried to move him, would have been $28 million. So they would have had to pay $28 million for Garoppolo and then $30 million or something around there for Brady too. It's just hard to make that work.
Plus, Brady was not good in 2019. He wasn't that good in 2019 with the Patriots. Like, he ended his season on that Titans pick 6 in the playoffs. The offense was not great. It was one of the worst of the Belichick era. Brady played his worst season like in a long time, and like the defense kind of carried that team. Like, Brady was not this like bona fide like elite guy after 2019, and like it kind of makes sense why you wouldn't want someone who is coming off his worst season at age 43. Like, I was kind of out on Brady. Like, the Buccaneers made the most sense for him. They really did.
Yeah, no, that team was ridiculous. I mean, there's probably not a better spot he could have landed. But then Brady also went on to say that about 90% of what he says is not what he's actually thinking. And, you know, I figured that's probably true for most athletes. And maybe people are like overthinking, like, oh, Brady's not honest with us. Like, how much do you think athletes don't share with us? Probably a lot.
What quarterback does just go out and... Yeah, what quarterback
That's
goes
what
out
I'm
and just
saying.
being like, that corner sucks, I'm going to be throwing at him all day. I really, truly believe that he shouldn't be in the league. I don't know why he has a starting job. That guy's going to be... He's going to be burnt toast against us. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think that's true for like literally everybody who's on the internet. Obviously, he's not saying everything he's thinking all the time. And if you're a professional athlete, you do have to put on a little bit of a, like a mask. You can't say everything that comes to your mind all the time, even if that would probably be more entertaining to talk about for us.
Yeah, they don't want to give the other team bulletin board material and have them come in like with something to prove. That's like kind of basic 101 talking to the media. So, like, yeah, it doesn't surprise me that Brady does that.
Even if you're the most like arrogant quarterback on the planet, like a Favre or a Rodgers, like even they don't go
or
out
a Brady,
and do that
really.
kind of stuff. Yeah, Brady. Yeah, Brady. I can definitely see. Yeah, no, I feel like most people have a lot to hide, just in general.
What are you hiding?
Lemon ice cream, man.
You hid it for years, but now the terrible truth is out. But
you're telling you guys never have a take that you keep to yourself because you don't want to deal with like the backlash that you would get for it.
No, definitely. Well, I don't know. There's been a couple.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
I'm trying to think of a take that I did not just immediately say. I'm not sure.
Here's an example. Not necessarily of that, but of you shouldn't say everything that comes to your mind, even though you might believe it to be true. Dabo Swinney ranking Ohio State 11th, not smart. Not a smart move.
Right.
Why would he do that?
Facts.
He should,
Facts.
even if he genuinely believed that was fair, he should have put them at like 4th or 3rd and not created the narrative and the storyline.
Yeah. Plus, that was just a dumb
like
take anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's stuff like that you always have to consider if you're an athlete or if you're just giving takes online or whatever. Because, I mean, he should have known, if I rank them 11th and then we play them and they beat us, that's not going to be a great look. So I should just rank them 4th, even if I think they're lower.
Yeah, there was a really funny clip that came out after that Brady interview, and it was like him being like, Kevin King, man, what a phenomenal cornerback that he is. One of the length and size make him so tough to deal with. I just want to stay way away from that guy. And like I saw that quote immediately after him saying like, "Yeah, whenever I see a
That's
bad
awesome.
cornerback, I just say what a great player," and that was funny.
That's actually really funny. The only take I can think of that I maybe shouldn't have said was I said Walter Payton may not be a top 5 running back all time. I got a lot of hate for I got a lot of hate for that. I
don't remember that one.
That's the only take that you think you shouldn't have said. Because I thought for sure you were
actually
talking about Saints
not.
Yeah, you did say the Saints were going to go.
Or anytime
0-16.
you predicted the Browns to do well too. Those have been
Okay,
for a
yeah,
while.
okay, but I didn't have like 120,000 followers on TikTok when I said that.
One take that I'm kind of regretting is that I said the Browns should take Felipe Franks on day 2 as an eventual successor to Baker Mayfield.
I remember that, Theo. I remember that.
Your heart was in the right place, so no one can blame you for that one. But
Yes.
day 2 was a little.
Day 2 was a little
high.
bit
It was more
high.
like 6th round.
And I also
pick
said
to
round
see what
2
he
or
has.
3. Yeah, I also said like round 2 or 3.
You
So
said
you-
round 3.
Can you imagine if the Browns, who had like gotten super close, seem to have like a really good competing team, and their window to win is right now, and they spend a 2nd round draft pick on Felipe Franks and create a whole bunch of drama for nothing. That would be literally exactly what the Packers did.
I was about to say that's such a Packers move.
Yeah,
Oh my
well,
gosh.
yeah. I do think that having a developmental quarterback on the roster right now, just in case Baker doesn't play good enough to be like a $40 million guy, would be useful for them. But I was a little bit too optimistic about when Felipe Franks was going to be selected. I thought that I had a 3rd round grade on him. The league did not have any grade on him because he went undrafted. But yes,
I think he's going to make the Falcons roster.
I hope so. I hope if he does well in the preseason, I'm going to be on one. So maybe
I
it'll
should
age
say
well.
that
but
it's not exactly what the Packers did, because Jordan Love is a little bit more highly regarded prospect, and Aaron Rodgers is a little bit older, and contract situations and whatnot. But it is funny.
Yeah, a
that there's
little
some
bit different.
similarities,
but still
between
very
them.
similar.
yeah, but
Well, let's hope.
I do want to say I would rather have. I don't know if I'd rather, but what hurts even more is when you have the right take in mind and you're like, that's too crazy. I'm not going to say that. And then it happens and you have passed up this opportunity to look like a genius. Yep. Like when in the middle of the season, when the Bucks were kind of on a downturn, I thought about making a Bucks will win the Super Bowl video. I thought about making that. And then I made a video ranking the top 5 NFC contenders. And I put the Bucks. I was like, my logic was so dumb. I said, I don't want to put that energy out into the universe that the Bucks are going to win the Super Bowl. I didn't want to even think about it happening because I just did not want to see it happen.
Oh
I'm like, I'm going to rank them last. And in this video, instead of giving like analysis about the Bucks, I put on this like pirate voice, and I'm like, they don't deserve a Super Bowl. And like that was my Bucks analysis. Instead of making the video of them winning that I actually was like originally thought about making. And then I ranked like the Cardinals
here's our
having
chance
like the
to
second best odds.
Here's our chance to hopefully make some takes that we can all be proud of. Let's move into a little bit of a NFL start bench cut. As our producer, whose name is The Producer, is going to throw out some offensive players from each major position, and we're going to decide if we should start, bench, or cut them based on talent, their team situation, and even from a fantasy perspective. So, producer, where are you at?
Hello, gents.
Hello, producer.
Shall we dance? All right. We're going to start with tight end.
Oh, God.
Start, bench, cut. Noah Fant, Mike Gesicki, and Kyle Pitts.
Ooh,
starting
start
Kyle
Kyle
Pitts.
Pitts.
Yeah.
Bench Mike Gesicki.
That's a no-brainer.
Cut Noah Fant. That's where I'm at.
I
Mike
want to agree
Gesicki's
with
underrated, though.
Mike
Mike
Gesicki's
Gesicki
really good. I think Mike Gesicki's really good, but Noah Fant's athleticism makes him really dangerous. And I almost wonder if in a better offense he might succeed a little bit better.
Well, Mike Gesicki was not in this phenomenal offense, and he's also quite athletic too. So I feel like I like Fant a lot.
I do like Gesicki. I do want to agree with you, but I also really like Noah Fant. But no, you're probably right. Gesicki's probably your bench guy.
From a fantasy perspective, I'll go Pitts, Gesicki, Fant. At least for
I think it's the same order no matter what. Probably. Like I don't think there's an order in which
I think Fant with Fant's got some wheels on him. I think if he keeps developing, I mean he hasn't been in the league that long. Gesicki's been in the league a year more than Fant.
I think so.
About
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
Yes.
But all the great tight ends take a long time to develop. All those guys are obviously really young. So I think for the future, you could probably go with any of them. But for right now, it's hard to pick against Kyle Pitts with how good of a prospect he is. Then I'd go Gesicki, then I'd go Fant.
Yeah, and honestly,
absolutely,
I could honestly see Gesicki over Pitts for year one. I
was thinking that the adjustment period for tight ends is so brutal.
Right. I think that everyone. I don't want to say Pitts. Here's the thing about Pitts. There is not after Waller, Kelsey, Kittle. The tight end I would like to have going forward the most is Pitts, and I would honestly I think that it's fair to say that of all the tight ends, he's the fourth best in the league right now. I honestly don't think that's a stretch. But I do think the expectations placed on him for year one, like I would bet on him having under 1,000 yards pretty, I would kind of slam that bet.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The only reason I would say he could have more is because who else are you going to throw to? It's like Ridley, Pitts, and then
what's
Russell
his name?
Gage.
Frank Darby, my boy.
Russell Gage or whatever.
Russell Gage is not bad.
Darby.
Russell Gage is not a bad wide receiver.
No, Russell Gage is not a bad player.
Yeah, he's not bad, but is he going to be your number 2 target above?
And Pitts doesn't really fit in with Pitts does not really fit in with how Arthur Smith has traditionally used tight ends as like the kind of more of a blocking piece. So maybe it takes a little bit to figure out his role there.
I guess that's fair. But a great coach is always able to make a role for a player more so than make a player fit his role.
Do you think that the Falcons picked Pitts because they kind of felt forced to? They're like, this guy's so clearly the number one prospect on most people's boards that we have to take him at 4 rather than they're like, we really want Pitts. I don't know if that makes sense.
I mean, best player available would say take Pitts, but honestly, yeah. I do wonder if you get Pitts is the highest paid tight end in the league right now by guaranteed money, the most expensive tight end in the league. But I do wonder sometimes if it would have been better to take Fields, or I guess you couldn't have taken Lance, but taken a quarterback who probably has more of a impact on winning, and those rookie contracts are so cheap. So is it more valuable to take a really good tight end prospect but have him be the highest paid tight end in the league right away, or get like that dirt cheap rookie contract? I don't know. It's very interesting and how that will play out, because I do think Pitts is an insane prospect. He catches everything. He's so fast. I thought he was by far the best prospect in this class. But it will be interesting to see like how he fits into that Falcons offense. That being said, though, I think I'd rather have Pitts than Gesicki, but for this year, it wouldn't surprise. I don't think you're crazy if you would say start Gesicki or I don't know if I'd cut Pitts, but if Pitts has the worst year of those 3 just to start off with, it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah,
that's totally fair.
Okay, moving on to wide receiver. All right, this is funky. Justin Jefferson, Odell Beckham Jr., and Calvin Ridley.
Boy, I think I would start.
I want to start. I'm starting Ridley. I think we can all agree that Ridley's probably going to lead the league in receiving yards. I think he's probably the favorite, and then he's also projected to be the number 1 receiver in fantasy by most people.
I think that's like a pretty big standard we're holding Ridley to, and he's a very good player, but like, it's no sure thing he leads the league in receiving yards.
It's not a sure thing, but he has pretty good odds to do it.
I don't know about that.
He's in a good position to do it, yeah, but like he's in a decent position.
I might bet on Hopkins
on a team that can.
I might bet on Hopkins and Adams to do that before I bet on Ridley to do that.
Yeah, but I don't think Ridley is like a top 5 wide receiver in the league as of right now. He might be in a good position, like if we're looking at just like racking up stats. Yeah, he's because I don't know if you can really
From a
Bro,
fantasy
the kitchen's
perspective,
sinking
yes,
now.
I think from a fantasy perspective, I would start Ridley, but I would say Justin Jefferson's probably a better overall receiver.
Then Ridley?
Maybe, I don't know. It's like I remember when I rated my receivers, I had like Allen, like Keenan Allen, Justin Jefferson, and Calvin Ridley kind of, and like Amari Cooper kind of intermingled in that like 8 through 11 mix, and I couldn't really decide who to put, in what spot.
I'll say this:
Yeah,
Odell has all the talent in the world, but if I was like an actual team, I would definitely cut him because I don't trust him to stay healthy at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's a lame answer. It's like counting injuries is a lame way to answer the question.
Is it?
So I'm not
I
gonna
mean,
do
you
that.
have to count
Yeah,
injuries,
it is.
can't you?
And we do it. I could sit here and tell you that Odell Beckham gets hurt. That's not good, so I don't want him. But that's not exactly some like genius brain analysis. I think I'd start Justin Jefferson. And then after that I got to think about it.
I think I would start
I mean,
Ridley.
yeah, that's like
I think Ridley was in the same possession Justin Jefferson was in, where he was kind of the number 2 with most defenses kind of rotating towards Julio and focusing on Julio. But Julio was hurt most of this year, and Ridley proved that he could go in and be this legit number 1 and kind of carry that wide receiving core this year. He proved that. Justin Jefferson is in a similar situation, but he has not quite proved that yet. I did just take Justin Jefferson over Keenan Allen in the great Chargers versus Vikings war, just because the more I think about it, the more I like having that big, deep threat ability that JJ has that
you went
Keenan
back
Allen
and forth
doesn't
on
really
that
have.
for a while.
What? Well,
You
at
went
first,
back and forth on that for
I
a
did go
while.
back and forth, and really all these guys are in the same tier, and really all the answers are probably valid. But I think I would start Ridley, bench JJ, and cut Odell, just because although I think that the gap between Odell and Stephon Diggs skill wise, I think is quite small. I do think that you got to take, like, we don't know the player is right now post ACL. We don't know what the player is like.
That's fair.
Going into the future, and will he be able to stay healthy? So I'd start Ridley, bench JJ, cut Odell. Unfortunately, even though I do really like Odell, and I think that he's still super super talented.
I'll get behind that logic. I'll start Justin Jefferson. I mean, he had one of the best rookie wide receiver seasons ever. So I mean, I would want to see what he could do in the future. Then I'll bench Ridley and I'll cut Odell.
I think I'm going to still lean starting Ridley, and then I'll bench Jefferson and cut Odell.
Sorry, Odell. I really do believe in Odell, though. I really
Yeah,
do.
I
that's
love
what-
Odell.
that's
As
what
a Browns
sucks
fan,
about
I
it.
feel
I really
Browns
hate
fan,
doing
I
that
feel
to him.
bad. I do,
because I watching Odell
got it.
and watching I saw a lot of still an excellent route runner, still has excellent hands. It's just I don't know
yeah.
if what the kind of player he is right now.
We got to see what he can do next year.
All right, moving on to running backs. J.K. Dobbins, Cam Akers, Antonio Gibson.
Start
Starting
JK
J.K. Dobbins.
easily.
Yeah, cut the other 2.
You only need Dobbins, man. The GOAT.
Start JK. I think bench Gibson, cut Akers.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I think we talked a lot about JK last episode or 2 episodes ago. So
I think we all love J.K. Dobbins here.
yeah.
I don't feel super strongly about Akers or Gibson like I do about J.K. But I think I'll go against the grain here. I might have Akers as a start.
I do
Gibson
like
as the cut.
Akers, but I
He
think
started.
Akers,
He had some problems getting it together the first half of the season, but he started to figure it out.
Yeah, I can't
like
remember.
Akers a lot. My only thing is I know that the Rams like to do a lot of like that back by committee style offense, and I don't know if he could be like a feature back, and I know that Dobbins could.
Life on the line. Life on the line. I don't think I could tell you the other running backs on the Rams. Am I being dumb?
Daryl Henderson. I think he's still there.
Yeah,
Henderson.
Yeah, Henderson.
Yeah. I am being dumb. But I think Akers probably has a little bit more upside than Gibson does. But Gibson is maybe a little bit more. I'm a little bit more confident he's going to be solid this year. But I'll go Akers because why not?
I know a little bit more about Gibson. Like I know Cam really started to look good at the end of last season, but Gibson is a player that I really liked coming out of college after averaging 8 yards per carry at Memphis, and then I drafted him in every single fantasy league that I joined. I drafted Gibson and I drafted James Robinson in every single league that I had, and that worked out well for me. So I like Gibson because of that, and I'll take him just because he has done. He's just someone I know. I'm more comfortable. I know his game a little bit more. I haven't really looked into Akers, and I think they're probably about the same. But I'd go with Gibson bench. Cut
Most
Akers.
running backs have very similar skill set, and I would say only Dobbins is the really dominant one in this group.
All right, let's finish with quarterbacks. Blaiden, I know you were asked this, and I think it's a pretty valid one. Start, bench, cut. Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, Drew Lock.
I was asked this, wasn't I? Oh yeah, no. This is a tough one.
I know who you guys are going to cut. I'm sick.
I'm going to cut Daniel
cutting
Jones.
Daniel Jones. Yeah. Yeah, nice. No, I'm actually cutting Daniel Jones. I don't think you can fix his pocket presence issue. I don't think that's an issue that gets fixed. Historically, it doesn't get fixed. Joe Flacco had the same problem, and the only way they mitigated it was by giving him a great offensive line, getting the ball out quickly, and having a really, really good defense.
Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl.
Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl.
And was the highest paid player in the league at one point. I feel like if you think he can be Joe Flacco, that's pretty good.
If he can be Joe Flacco at any point in his career, yeah, that'd be awesome, right? But like as of right now, I don't think they have the best coach, right? Joe Flacco had an awesome situation that year when they won a Super Bowl. That team was really, really good, and the Giants just aren't at that like Ravens level. So I wouldn't project Daniel Jones to be Joe Flacco anytime soon. So I'm going to cut Daniel Jones. I'm leaning to start Darnold. I really am. I know Theo's going to look at me like I'm crazy because I know he's been falling in love with Drew Lock recently. But I kind of feel like
actually now that I think about it,
I kind of want to start Darnold. I can't lie.
In terms of the take looking good next season, I don't know what this one. I see, with Sam Darnold, I like the position that he's in, and I feel like the Panthers are going to help him be better than
you
he
guys
was
can
with the
cut
Jets.
Drew Lock. I won't be offended, by the way. You guys can do that.
I'm not cutting.
I'm not sparing your feelings.
I'm cutting Daniel. I'm cutting Daniel Jones.
But I also very heavily believe that if you're a first round quarterback and you're bad your first 3 seasons, you're bad. There's no examples of a player turning it around after a start like Darnold's had. So I'm really.
I don't know if there's ever a player who's had a. I don't know if there's ever been a player who's had a bad a situation as Darnold had. Darnold has had his situation get worse every season he's been with the Jets, and that to me gives me hope that maybe in a spectacular season, in a spectacular situation, he could have a significant improvement.
Yeah, I would say I'm going to start Locke because that's been my brand and I'm going to stick with it. I think that Locke during that first run with the Broncos when they went like 5-2, I think he was playing pretty good football. And I think at the end of the year, this year, he was playing pretty good football. I think that he is of all of those 3, he has the most like wow throws. And I feel like at Mizzou, he improved every single year. I don't know. I don't have much faith in Daniel Jones because I don't think that he can score a lot of touchdowns and also avoid a lot of dumb plays at the same time. I mean, he might be able to avoid interceptions and not throw any touchdowns, or he might be able to, throw some touchdowns and also make a lot of dumb plays. I feel like,
and don't forget his fumbles. Like
right. I feel like honestly, I feel like Locke has played well for stretches, and I don't even know if that exists for Darnold. I don't even know if he's played well for any stretch of his career. Like where is the good play? So honestly, maybe I would go start Locke, cut Darnold, bench Daniel Jones. I don't know. It's
interesting.
That's a really good point. Sam Darnold is somebody who has gotten situation excuses even before he was with the Jets. Like in USC, his offensive line was terrible too, and it really was a bad, or that's what people said, and maybe he really just does have bad luck with that type of stuff, but Locke has shown more flashes, and I liked him coming out of Mizzou too. With Daniel Jones, I don't think that he's terrible, but I agree that he's got a problem that I'm pretty confident he's not going to be able to fix. And it's a killer. I mean, he's going to fumble probably double-digit times this season. And that's a killer. But the tools are there for him. So I'll start Locke. I'll bench Darnold. And I'll cut Jones. But from a fantasy perspective, give me Daniel Jones. I kind of think Daniel Jones might have the best season of any of these three. But he also has a flaw that I'm the most confident he can't get over to becoming like a really, really good quarterback, if that makes sense.
Here's the thing. If they can figure out how, in New York, if they can figure out how to allow Daniel Jones to get the ball out quickly, right? Kadarius Toney, they have Saquon. If they can get the ball down the field in like short chunks and just get the ball out quickly, and then in the red zone they have Kenny Golladay, that you're not wrong. They can utilize that well. But my concern is Jason Garrett is their offensive coordinator. That's not happening. Like, they're not going to figure it out.
It's a tough one.
Again, these are all three quarterbacks who are kind of in the same tier, and I think every answer is valid. But I would personally, I've been so on Drew Lock. I really do like, every time I watch him, I'm like, man, that's kind of an amazing throw that he just made. That doesn't really happen with, every time I watch Daniel Jones, it's like, wow, that was kind of a dumb thing that he just did. And that concentration of just like amazingness is not really there for him either. So I feel like if we're just they all are probably bad. All of them are probably not ever going to be elite. So I feel like I'm kind of giving like.
See, but then one of them will be elite and it'll be the guy that I cut, and then people will come back to this stuff and be like, "Oh my God, how could you say that?" Here's maybe a new way of looking at it. All three of them have not been very good up through this portion of their career, and the longer you are not good, the more not good games you have, the more likely it is that you're just straight up not good. Drew Lock has played the least amount of games. You should start him because he has the best odds of turning it around. Daniel Jones has played the second most games, so he should be second, and then Darnold third because he's been third. I don't know if that's...
I guess that kind of checks out.
Yeah.
Right?
The data supports you.
Whoever's the youngest.
And I'm still going to go against it. I'm still going to cut Daniel Jones. I'm still going to start Darnold, and I'm going to bench Drew Lock. I just feel the most comfortable with Darnold. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think Darnold will be fine this season. That's my prediction for him.
We'll see.
Sam Darnold is the player that I'm the most torn on because I don't want to sit here and trash him because he plays for my team, and his situation did get a lot better. So it's hard to predict him not to do better if his situation got a lot better. But at the same time, it's hard to go back and watch some of those Jets games.
I can understand that. All right, well, before we get out of here, I have one more quick question. As we approach the 4th of July and Matthew's birthday, lots of barbecues are going to be going on. What is your favorite barbecue option?
Matt, you're a Cancer? Good for you. Just interesting.
What?
I'm just talking
astrology.
That wasn't the question.
I'm a dog man myself. I know that makes me sound like I'm 7 years old, but I like a good dog. I get some mustard on there. I like it. It's good.
That's totally fair.
I would go with corn on the cob being like the best 4th of July thing. Corn on the cob is such a good thing. Put a bunch of pepper and put a bunch of butter and pepper on it. Nothing. It tastes the best. Corn review? Yeah. On the 4th of July, you should do a corn review on corn on the cob. You really should, because that's a good idea.
All right,
Everyone would like it.
We'll go do it.
Yeah, that would be
not
good.
To spoil it, it's probably going to be a positive review.
It probably
corn
is.
On the cob is.
Corn on the cob is the best way to eat corn.
It's good. I can't lie. But you got to be careful giving out these food takes like this, because people will. I mean, like if you give out a food take that people don't like, you know how the Stay Hot listeners can get.
Trust me, I know. And
actually, that's me too. I can't lie. It's
you gave a worse take than I did with the hot dogs. I'm not mad. If you don't like corn on the cob,
hot
tastes
dogs are
amazing.
fine. Hot dogs are fine.
Corn on the
There's
cob.
nothing wrong with hot dogs.
I was thinking corn on the cob is something you grill, but I don't know. I was thinking like what meat you grill.
Well, then I would take hamburgers.
I mean, if we're going grilled food, then I'm going brats. I like brats. Brats are my go-to. I think they're phenomenal. No, I don't put ketchup or anything on them. They're just brought on a bun.
Of course, you just eat it plain. Of course, you do.
Like,
What's wrong with that?
Here's the thing about my hot dog take. I know it's the wrong take. I know hamburgers are supposed to be better. There's more you can do with them, but I like hot dogs.
Look, it's objective. Food is objective, but there are right answers, and hamburger is the right answer. I'll be taking the W on this one. Corn on the cob and hamburger. You guys can have whatever you want.
When I originally read this question, I first thought like we were going to talk about like actual barbecue food, like ribs or like pulled pork.
Ribs are
I was going to say
great.
like
maybe I'll change it.
Like barbecue pulled pork sandwiches. That is my favorite. Like if we had to like pick like an actual like barbecue, like I want pulled pork. Like it slaps any day of the week.
Well, see, that's different. That's different because your go-to and your favorite might be two different things. Because hot dogs are my favorite because part of it's they're the easiest. They're really easy.
That's fair.
Pulled pork isn't
nearly as easy.
Pulled pork is a lot more complicated, but pulled pork is definitely better than just like a plain hot dog with mustard on it.
No, yeah, pulled pork is phenomenal any day of the week.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if we're talking like traditional 4th of July food, I think that we got to keep it kind of simple. I got hot dogs and corn.
Yeah.
You got brats. Matt's got hot
brats.
dogs.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's what we come down to.
Well, hopefully you all enjoy the 4th. I know I will. And hopefully Matthew has a very, very happy birthday. Thank you all for tuning in. We will be coming to you on Wednesday next week because Monday is like a holiday. But until next time, catch you on the flippity flop.